Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
That's right. So this week's going to be a fun one because we're going to be recapping our experience at the TCG Con event in Houston, Texas last weekend.
All cards, all the time.
Along with, all the typical array of news and things like that. So, nice to see you guys here. Obviously, shout out to anybody watching the premiere live. Ones in chat if you are.
Put your ones up.
And before we get into all of it, I do have another review. This is from MAKLDS2425. That's
what?
The username. But anyways, the podcast review. I love the APS channel. I watch your YouTube videos all the time. I watched the podcast episode on YouTube. Can't wait to catch the next one on here. All the love from Egypt.
Wow.
AKA Inventors of Duel Monsters, at least according to the anime. Yes, this is actually a listener from Egypt, which is pretty cool. So, shout out to you. I
wonder what it's like to be in the Yugioh homeland.
Yeah, I mean,
so
probably not.
People wrongly think it's Japan.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say you probably doesn't have much Yu-Gi-Oh actually there, but
I would hope Kazuki Takahashi before he passed went to Egypt at least once.
Oh, certainly. I just don't know if Konami probably cares much. I don't know. I don't know. Are Yu-Gi-Oh cards like a big thing there, like culturally for a different reason? Maybe that would be interesting to find out. But anyways, thank you so much for the review. As always, we appreciate any 5-star reviews or thumbs up if you're on YouTube, or really anything helps.
That's true. Even the spicy one.
All right, so real quick, let's talk about TCG Con.
Okay, cool.
So,
So for you guys who don't know, TCG Con is an event that is card game centered, but they hold it all over the country in the United States.
It's we went to the one that was in Houston. Apparently there's one later this summer, like in the summer in Los Angeles, and then I think in Tampa, Florida, later in the year. And so it's just a kind of a thing for card game lovers. A lot of vendors, a lot of voice actors who maybe were involved in 90s, 2000s cartoons that were related to card games. They had tournaments.
I guess the best way to sell it is if you've ever been to an anime convention or a comic convention, and you're like, I wonder if they'll have tournaments, because sometimes they have tournaments, these events. You show up and you keep asking around and no one knows anything, and by the time you find the card game place, they're only playing Commander, or they're only playing some hyper niche card game you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Well, TCG Con is the opposite of that.
Yeah, they actually had a lot of tournaments, and it's a lot of things. I guess to start with the vendor part, you could pretty much just walk around and find vendors selling cards of any game you played. I know you were saying
they were all over the place.
Obviously, I sold a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards off the bat. I
sold a lot of Magic, and I sold a lot of Digimon, because I've just been holding on to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we have so many cards around here, just from product opening stuff and
And we don't sell cards typically.
Yeah, and typically I'm not a big card seller. I'm really not. I guess it's maybe a fun bit of trivia, because people maybe think a lot of YouTubers are just have every single card, and they're running these businesses and buying and selling. Not us.
I think, at least for me, that was my first time ever selling cards, and I did it because the Yu-Gi-Oh card game right now is kind of expensive, and one of my favorite decks and strategies is one of the more expensive ones. So I don't just randomly have an extra couple $100 to throw down on my Snake Eyes deck, but I did have a few $100 worth of cards that just sit there.
Yeah, and sit there is important, because I was selling a lot of foils from the binder. We have a binder where we just put foils that we pull from new packs, but it's not really organized really, and there's a lot of old cards that we've just come across through all sorts of means over the years. And so I thought it was really productive to be able to basically sell a lot of those cards to vendors, get cash for them, and invest that cash for the most part into decks I am currently playing and higher rarities. So my goal for that weekend was to pick up collector's rare cards for my decks Exo Sisters, Vanquished Soul, Rescue Ace, Labyrinth. Those are some of my favorites, and collector's rare is obviously one of my favorite rarities. So I just sold many useless foils, for me at least, but they were able to fund a handful of decks, and kind of helps to downsize.
Oh yeah,
because we have loads of cards around here, and we're still not. I mean, there's still a lot.
We still have a long way to go.
Yeah, and it's not like like I'm quitting Yu-Gi-Oh thing. It's just more like I just have way too many cards.
I think of it as more of like kind of transforming your collection. You're moving your collection upwards. You're reducing the width and pushing it up as far as the average value of the cards you have.
Yeah.
For me, I was a new Digimon set had just come out, so I turned a lot of what I sold into Digimon alt arts and new Digimon alt arts at that. You know, when they're not really expensive, but it was just a very nice thing to not have to dig into my bank account and put myself in financial distress to get the shiny cardboard I want when I had so much leftover shiny cardboard that I didn't have to.
Yeah, it's much easier justifying buying like some, because like I was buying Rescue Ace Hydrant or some of the other collector's rares that like might cost $50, $60, $80, $90. It's so much easier to justify buying them when I'm just buying them with the money from old foils that I've pulled years ago and just been kind of like sitting on.
Because guys, we don't compete, and
we don't compete really very often anyway in paper Yu-Gi-Oh, and like there's also card prices fluctuate so much, and I'm not like a market watcher, so I don't really ever know. Like one example was I was able to sell like Generator Lopter, for instance, which apparently is $16. Well, as it happened, I have a Generator deck, and I've run 3 Ultras in that, but they're actually like just 2 spare ones that we had, and so I was able to like sell them to the vendors. And like now, granted, vendors do give like pretty low payouts on stuff, but that's like the business model.
I mean, like we know, I never suggest people try to get into card games for profit. That's just especially Yu-Gi-Oh, you are asking for trouble. It's not impossible, just golly. For some people to win, there's gonna be a lot of losers. I wouldn't suggest it, but if you have a large collection and you are struggling to get the new expensive shiny cards you want, maybe consider downsizing. Just sell some of the old, more useful foils. You'd be surprised what has a price on it. Because of Edison, there's even a lot of older cards that have prices on them for no apparent reason.
Yeah, so there's just all kinds of things. It's like really worth considering. And other than that, there were tournaments. I played
Digimon.
How'd you do?
Bad.
Not well.
I did bad.
Did you have fun?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, I played in Yu-Gi-Oh. I played in the advanced format Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. They did have an Edison format one as well on Saturday, but the advanced format one was on Sunday. I played, and also Trell played, and there were only actually 8 people.
Stop. You always lead with the number of people. First, tell them the result.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I got second place.
At a
8-person tournament.
At a 1K.
Yeah, that should
he got second place at a 1K, y'all.
Sorry, I'm being modest. Okay, let me tell the full story. So they were doing Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. There was an Edison 2K, like $2,000 Edison tournament on Saturday. And there's also a $1,000 advanced format one.
It's crazy. Weird. The Edison one was double the prize.
I guess the crowd that attends these events might be a little more Edison skewed.
There was a lot of Edison players.
Than like
there were a lot.
Advanced format skewed, but they didn't really advertise the like advanced format tournament. So only 8 people played, but they did honor the payout of $1,000. By the end of the second round, though, 11 people were playing, so that was really cool.
Respectable numbers.
Yeah, respectable numbers. The Edison format thing was huge, though. Like it was like 7 rounds.
They had so many tables.
Lorcana was also really big.
It was huge.
Yeah, so Lorcana was big, Edison was big, but in my tournament was a little smaller than that. So, but I got second place, and I got $200.
Hey.
So pretty cool, getting a little money for playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And I was able to just use that money to buy more cards.
I mean, that was the whole thing. TCG Con was a place just to cards and cash were moving around like crazy.
Yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, then it's definitely, I guess, the place for you.
There was also like merchandise and accessories. I bought a Judge mat off a Judge. He was about to sell all of his mats, and I was like, please let me have a look at these before you do.
A lot of cosplayers as well. Shout outs to Danielle De Nicola.
Yeah.
She did the My Valentine cosplay.
It got a lot of buzz online, I saw.
Got a lot of buzz, yeah. I got a picture with her. Really great cosplay, actually. Like the hair for Mai seems like that's very stressful to do because Mai's hair is something.
You know, what I liked about her cosplay was that she made sure you never saw her from behind. Like, you only ever saw the wig from in front. The wig from behind, though, I got a glimpse.
Okay. What is it like?
Let's just say it really is hard to maintain those giant
Just
anime wigs.
huge curls and everything else. Yeah, shout outs to her. Great cosplay. Shout outs to all the cosplayers and all the fans that we met. A lot of people just came up and talked.
Oh, and there were great guests too. There were voice actors, but also a lot of like WWE stars were there. That was
which was really interesting. It seemed like that wouldn't exactly be the crowd, but they had like the biggest lines.
Yeah, they had the biggest lines by far. It was Rikishi, Mick Foley, Nikki James, and Lita were all in attendance, and that was great. I felt like I was right back in my childhood.
Yep, and I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it was a really fun event.
Yeah,
a good time. Shout out to TCG Con for inviting us out. So as for Yu-Gi-Oh news,
there's been of things.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I guess we'll just kind of. I don't actually have a list for a change. I wasn't very prepared this week. We'll go off the dome. I'm on WIGO organization, so there's a full spoiler or just like reveal list on the official database for OTS Pack 24. Mm-hmm. Most people already knew about this stuff because it had kind of been leaked recently.
Good old leaker.
But we do know the ultimate rares are Chaos Angel, Rock of the Vanquisher, which I have to have now, an ultimate rare, and Harpy's Feather Duster. We also get super rare copies of King Tiger Wangu, Unchained Twins Arwa, Labyrinth Chandraglier, gotta get that. Cornfield Coatl, that's one of the illusion monsters. Unchained Soul of Sharvara, and DDD Wave King High Caesar. Also, Pirelli Sleepy Memory, Tears of the Overroot, Pirelli Eep, or Perli Eep, whatever.
Peryeet, you say?
Manadium Reframing. And then several different commons that's like just kind of. There a few standouts among the comments are that they're reprinting Saphira, Queen of Dragons, kind of makes sense. Raid Raptor 4 Strix because the Raid Raptor deck is around, and some of the Magispector cards, things like that. So
makes sense. Yeah.
So that's like OTS Pack 24. If you play in your locals, or obviously regionals and things like that, you might be able to get your hands on some of these.
I've always liked the OTS packs. They feel like smart reprints for the most part. Mm-hmm. It's pretty consistent. There's always going to be some big staple card that gets an OT, but then there'll be like important, relevant, like archetypal monsters that get their OT printings.
Yeah, it's a great way to like rarity upgrade your deck, but also just like they do a good job of like, okay, Yubel just got support, or Evol just got support, or whatever's got support, and there's like really old stuff you need to play it. So now this helps to kind of recirculate those.
Even retro cards like King Tiger.
Yeah, which I think that's probably like an Edison, kind of call out. So, yeah, cool. You got something?
Yeah, so I saw that the new Funko Pop list came out, or at least they was kind of spoiled. We're getting Yu-Gi-Oh! GX themed Funko Pops.
Okay, do we have a list?
I have them off the top of the dome. I got Jaden.
Yeah.
Chaz. Mm-hmm. Harpy Lady 1.
Yeah,
Ojama Yellow.
Okay.
Wing Karibo.
Elemental Hero.
Avion. And Burstinatrix.
Yeah, okay. I'd seen this list here.
And not least, for some reason, Harpy Lady 3 as a GameStop exclusive.
Yeah.
Was that all of them? Did I get them?
Yeah, you did.
Yes!
So a bunch of new Funko Pops. I'm just excited to see Funko's kind of moving into GX, finally. I mean, there's obviously still a few like Dual Monsters themed ones here, technically, but like, I think GX deserves the love. I think that we've gotten so many Yugi and Kaibas.
We've seen so much DM era. It's received so much attention.
And like Toon, Blue Eyes has gotten different variants, and Red Eyes, all these things. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see this. This excites me. It kind of makes me want to get Yu-Gi-Oh! Funkos now, but I don't know if I'm...
See, I knew you'd become a Funko boy.
I don't know if I need to be doing that.
It's like, okay.
Well, Funkos take up space.
It's fine. We have a friend, Victor, who also likes Funkos, so you two can just collect together.
The main problem, too, is if I start, then I'll have to also get a lot of the older ones because I'll want the completionist.
Oh, well.
So which of these are you getting?
I want all of the GX ones.
Okay.
I've realized that GX is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Even more so than DM.
Why is that?
No idea. I think it was funnier.
Yeah, for sure. The dub is better. Well, here's something else new. Have you heard of the company Super Groupies?
That sounds vaguely familiar. Yes.
Yeah, the Super Groupies Yu-Gi-Oh! DM collection. They're releasing some Duel Monsters themed fashion items. There's a Yu-Gi-Moto jacket, which isn't like the jacket he wears. It's just a jacket that has some Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of references and imagery
I
on
misunderstood. You meant like Yu-Gi-Oh! The franchise fashion. I was thinking Yu-Gi-Oh! Player fashion. I was expecting white T-shirt, jeans, and Crocs.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Sorry, no wife beaters and basketball shorts here. No. They have these cool things. I don't know if you've seen them, but like there's like a Yu-Gi-Moto jacket.
Oh, that actually looks kind of dope.
And they have these model bags where it's like, I guess if you're a high fashion sort of person, you might carry a bag like this.
Somebody.
Seto Kaiba scarf.
With a pin.
Yeah.
A Kaiba Corp pin.
That's a Kaiba model bag. So these are neat. This is definitely kind of more in that, like, if you're in the fashion world, this is kind of cool to you because the prices on these are on the higher end.
Super Groupies. Now that I've seen that does remind me. They did a Kingdom Hearts collection at one point that looked really nice.
The vibe of it kind of feels like those Final Fantasy kind of fashion collabs they would do, like
the really expensive stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the Yugi jacket's $210. The Yugi bag is $170.
I'm okay. I'm good.
The Kaiba scarf is $140.
The scarf?
Yeah.
The scarf.
A scarf, yes.
I'm good. I'm very
And his
good.
bag is $170. So a little bit pricey.
Is that so? Like, which one costs more, the Kaiba bag or the Kaiba briefcase?
I mean, the briefcase from Konami.
So that's where your money should go.
I think a little more expensive. I would probably rather get that as a card game player, but I think it's cool. Yu-Gi-Oh's doing more of these brand collabs lately, just kind of where they license out the brand. And will I be getting them? No.
Aw.
They're a little too rich for my blood. Now, if they want to send something over, I won't complain.
Maybe we go to another TCG Con, sell some cards, and get some bags.
Yeah. I mean, it does make me kind of think about, Yu-Gi-Oh! As it relates to fashion. I think that the characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are actually very fashionable. Like, most of them. Because, like, if you think about it, like, Kaiba's making a statement. Like,
sure, every time he steps out the door.
Every time he steps out the door with, like, the kind of black bodysuit, huge silver coat, and, like...
And how does the coat even stay like that? Just... Does he iron it and get, like, starch it?
I think it's, like, it's got to be just molded that way, basically. Like, it might not even be able to actually blow. It
Can't
just
even fit in the closet.
stays, like, flared out the whole time. But, yeah, I mean, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters are obviously pretty fashionable people. Mm-hmm. Are the players the same way?
Hey, some get there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think so.
I'd be looking regular. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd be looking regular.
I try to look a little bit distinct when I go to, like, events, but not... I wouldn't call it fashionable, but I do try to... You won't catch me in, like, wife beater basketball shorts, Crocs. I've seen, that...
A little too comfortable.
That might be a little too comfortable.
But, a little too comfortable.
But, I like to wear Yu-Gi-Oh! Branded things. Like, I have that Master Duel hoodie and, like, stuff like that. Like, I like to wear that where I can. And just sort of look a little more... Like, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Regionals and stuff for me have always been, like... It's an event. Like, if you feel kind of good, like, if you feel like you look good and stuff, you'll feel better and maybe play better. At least that's how it is for me.
That's not like one of those motivational things you tell like teens.
Yeah, if you look better, you'll feel better. But it is true. Like, just generally speaking, I think,
That's the hot tip, guys. You want top of YCS? Dress well.
Probably helps. I mean, at least a tad. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. As for, like, actual, maybe more card game news, let's see. What have I noticed over the last... like a couple of days? Have you seen?
I mean, there's been a lot of discourse around our new format with our Snake Eye Overlords.
Yeah, Snake Eye Fire King seems like it's really strong.
I was looking at Reddit posts. There were some people complaining that Snake Eyes is a tier 0 deck, and there are people complaining about those people complaining that the format hasn't been around long enough for you to claim that Snake Eyes is tier 0.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really had the first, like, YCS of the format. That's going to be next weekend. Mm-hmm. So, like, I guess if it turns out that, it's the Fire King sort of Fire Snake Eye deck gets, like, a lot of spots, then, yeah, I guess you could call it tier 0. But
until then... my favorite thing, random claims about how one defines tier 0. Because like one person specifically said that if a deck takes up 50% of top cut, it is officially tier 0, and that's their wording, not mine. And I was like, what officially defines a tier?
Yeah, I don't know where I've
Official.
heard this, but I remember always hearing that like it's over 65%. But like that's an arbitrary number. I don't really know who
Yeah, why not
came up with
66% or 67?
So, I mean, great question. I have seen some of the discourse on Twitter around like, defining kind of decks and labeling decks by tiers and how some people feel like they're maybe a little bit burnt of this system that feels like it's a bit nebulous. What do you think? I mean, you feel like have you ever seen like there's a tier 1 deck, there's a tier 1.5, tier 2.
I don't really care. Tier 1 decks are decks that compete and win at tournaments. Tier 0 decks are decks that just beat everything else in the format. That's really the long. I don't really care what's a tier like 1.5 or a tier 2 deck. Maybe I think for people who are like in the competitive scene and they they're competing all the time every day, then maybe such designations would matter. But since I'm my play level is at a tier 3, it doesn't make much sense to like distinguish from a tier 1 and a 1.5 for me. Like,
I have some thoughts on it. I kind of feel like the whole tier thing is, as like just tier lists, tier 0, and all that stuff. It clearly kind of is originated, maybe not originated, but it was very popularized by like fighting games. Mm-hmm. But I think with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's really tough to put decks in tiers. Like even in fighting games, people have a tough time like agreeing on tier lists.
Facts.
But and they change pretty dynamically as the meta game itself changes. But
as
I think with
player
Yu-Gi-Oh,
knowledge grows.
Yes, player knowledge grows, player experience, and things like that. But with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's tricky because like decks are like a collection of 40 cards that you choose. Whereas like a fighting game character is like you press like Ryu on the character select screen and like Ryu is Ryu is Ryu.
Ooh, I always love these analogies because I've always said that trading card games and like fighting games are very similar. A character in a fighting game is a deck of cards.
I feel like your mic is like it's tilted down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I was saying that fighting game characters are like a deck of cards that you can pull at will.
Yeah.
But your kit is that deck.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's sort of true. My thing is like, I might build my Fire King deck a little differently than you build your Fire King deck. Mm-hmm. So, but whereas if we both play like Street Fighter 6 and both pick Ryu,
the deck is always the same.
They're like identical. And so I think it's like a little bit harder to rank tiers because so much more comes down to exactly like how the deck is built. Mm-hmm. And also, a bunch of other factors. But speaking about it more like in the context of what it means to like an outsider or somebody kind of like trying to learn the tiers themselves, I don't know if I like tier lists being like, this is tier 0, this is tier 1, this is tier 2, whatever. Because I think it's just more like a flashy video title kind of thing.
I think, and it's too early. I think in a macro sense, when a format ends, I think, yes, you can make a tier list and be like fairly sure about your metrics and whatnot at the end of a format when all the data is in.
Oh, so you think it's like a more retroactive?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's very easy once formats are over and you have all those numbers that won't change.
And know. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. Nowadays all I see is like either it's somebody like talking about like, oh, Team Sam calls every deck tier 0, right?
Hey man, that's just marketing.
Like, the tier 0 thing, or is this the new tier 0? Like, it's a great hype builder is claiming like, is voiceless voice going to be tier 0? Is whatever going to be like, it's a way to kind of hype people up, get views, generate interest, buzz, sell cards on TCG Player, cause buyouts.
YouTubers are the problem?
Yeah, we are. No, but I mean, seriously, like, I do think that a lot more of it is just, it's about, like, principle and sentiment than actually about any meaningful analysis at times.
Right.
Like, I don't know that we're really... Because calling decks tiers almost feels like it's more about just... There's, like, a pride... I always sense a bit of pride that goes into people, like, my deck is not tier, like, 2, it's tier 1.5. And it's like, okay, great.
Won't stop you from losing a Dark Ruler no more.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't... Like, I don't know that it changes a lot. Like it's like we know that some decks are better than others. So it's not that I'm arguing that, like, oh, any deck can win if you try and believe hard enough. No. It's more like I don't know that arguing about the specifics changes the approach to preparing for an event.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Or maybe if that's the case, like the tiers should be like, should you be concerned about this or not? Like that's like a deck is either I'm concerned about playing against Fire Kings, Voiceless, and one other thing or whatever, and that's kind of what I prep for, and everything else I just learn a little and hope. You know.
I mean, I think it's in everyone's best interest to learn as many matchups as conceivably possible. Mm-hmm. Like, and if maybe you focus on decks that you consider only tier 1, it just means that in those rogue matchups, you will be left your knowledge will be a little bit lacking in those situations. You might drop around to some weird thing that people consider tier 3, but since you only considered tier 1 decks, you didn't even look at it.
So, anyways, we also got some reveals about the cards in Battles of Legend.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, Battles of Legend Chapter 1 reprints a lot of past Battles of Legend cards. There are, obviously, you can find like some aggregate posts that just sort of show everything that's in the set.
Just go to Dual Daddy's Twitter.
Yeah, if I can, I'll put it up on screen. Not a super exciting set is the general consensus, but it's maybe more exciting, obviously, if you're like a fan of Heroes, Lightsworns. Some decent little Edison reprints in there. Yep. Absolute Zero is one that I've heard
Ab-Zero and Gaia.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about those. I think the only really meaningful reprint for like the competitive kind of nitty-gritty tournament goer is probably like Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord or whatever. The rank 8 Xyz monster. That had a really hefty price before, and it's reprinted in here.
I think Ubel's got all of its forms reprinted in here, and I know people have been testing around with Ubel decks in regionals and whatnot.
Yeah, not too many, not really any staple cards, like no spell trap kind of things. So it's pretty much, you can get your Lightsworns in anticipation of Legacy of Destruction. Mm-hmm. They're going to be getting support. You can get a lot of hero cards.
Yep.
Rarity upgrade a few of them. But yeah, it's mostly just kind of filling in the gaps. Probably not a product that you buy like loads of sealed product.
Unless you really want the dice. There's a cool Blackluster Soldier dice I saw.
Yeah, I saw there's a Big Eye die.
Oh, I didn't see the Big Eye one. Cool.
Yeah, I thought that was neat. How do you feel about these like chapter things? You know, there's like Legendary Duelist Chapter 1 and 2.
It's it's kind of like the idea of
I think
recycling content. I'm thinking from a YouTuber point of view. That's essentially what Konami is doing here. They're recycling products. We did it once before. Like, hey, we sold these before. Let's collect them together and sell it all in one. Like,
yeah. I mean, you like them?
I mean, they're fine, I guess.
I think the dice are cool.
I mean, yeah, the dice are pretty popular, especially with casual players. And as long as they try to reprint cards that are kind of out of print and hard to get, I don't have an issue with it. I'm just fine with it. Like I said, or like you said, this Battles of Legend feels a little underwhelming, but
one of the things I don't like is that this is $15.99, and like you get like I think like 3 packs and a die, and like they always come in those big boxes that have a lot of empty space. Actually, I think you only get 2 packs.
Oh my god, for 15?
Yeah, I think you only get 2 packs.
How many cards in them packs?
Correctly. Well, in total, you get 1 secret rare, which is your promo, 6 ultras in different name colors. I think that's like 3 per pack, 30 commons, and 1 to 6 collectible dice. So it's either 2 or it's 3 packs. But either way, for $15.99, I don't know. It just feels a little.
I mean, it feels a little on the scammier side of things, but
I mean, scammy is a strong word since I know that there's someone who, like, you should know what you're buying.
But it's like, is there $15 of value here? And I'm not.
It is if you believe that there is.
But is there $15? Like the die, like, come on, man. Like,
well, no, in defense, sometimes the dice can end up being pretty valuable down the line.
And that's on the secondary market. But like on the surface,
do I think that this is like worth a buy? I'll say what I say about every single product that they ever release. Buy one for the culture, and that's it. Like, this is something where I think you grab one just to support your card shop. Mm-hmm. Just, you know, your card shop had to make this pre-order several months ago. They had no clue it was going to be in there, and they will be very, hurt if like their feelings will be hurt if this sits on the shelf and like no one buys it. So just Buy one to support the card shop.
I need a
get
Neos
cool
Wiseman,
die.
so I'll pull a few. Like I might buy 2. You know.
Yeah,
I need a Neos Wiseman.
I think don't buy more than that.
Well, at that point, you're just playing the gacha game, and
this one's not a good one.
Yeah, I feel like you lose. I feel like you lose this.
Not a great gacha. Okay. Any other Yu-Gi-Oh things come to mind?
Ooh. I got nothing.
Okay. Yeah. We Well, I have 2 more really quick. So they've announced more details about the quarter century stream, the QCC quarter century celebration live stream. It's gonna be this weekend.
Yeah.
When you guys are watching this, it'll be tomorrow. So like Friday.
Paul's gonna win.
Yeah, my Master Duel opponent has been announced. I'm going to be playing against Paulo Goncalves, I believe. I hope I said that right, at least. He's a multi-time YCS winner, so no pressure.
Might work.
I definitely have the short end of the stick with my matchup. It's like Crypt versus Chilled Chaos is, kind of just variety gaming people playing against each other. C-Rex versus Rhyme Style. They're obviously like kind of a duo. And Jesse Cotton versus Joshua Schmidt. A big matchup that a lot of people want to see. Meanwhile, I got stuck with playing against an extremely talented, proven player.
Very competent.
A little competent might be.
Proven. And
yeah,
to be
proven
competent. You
might even say. Well, I'm going to try my best. It'll be fun. Wish me luck, guys. Tune in. I'll be streaming it on the main Team APS channel, and Konami will be streaming it, and you can watch me play my heart out on Master Duel.
And I'll be on the dueling side of things, playing against a 5th-rate duelist. Yeah, it's Duel Links.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Duel Links, maybe there's a little less pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I feel nothing.
Yeah, so, cool. Make sure you guys tune into that. I think it'll be fun. My team name is, they have team names. I don't know if many people know. I'm on Team Doom Donuts, and we'll be playing against the Hungry Burgers.
And I'm on Team Bacon Savers.
Okay. Bacon
I forget
Savers.
the other team's name.
I think you guys are going to be playing against Roast Beef.
Oh, yeah. Or something. Or Ghost Beef, you mean.
Ghost Beef. Yeah. So some fun team names there. Don't know what else will really be involved in the stream. That's literally all I've been informed of. So I know no more than you guys do. Yeah. Now, there's a quick Reddit thread that I thought was like kind of worth mentioning on our Yu-Gi-Oh! Somebody asked, why is the TCG so bad at advertising their products or making announcements?
Ooh.
So
Looking at
this
you,
person
marketing.
says, you see this with almost every single product. 10 days before release, they reveal all the cards at once. But before then, there's almost complete radio silence except for a select few. Like, most people didn't even know that number 11 Big Eye would be in Battles of Legend, and they only found out because it was on a die that most people didn't even know about. Then there's the Kaiba case that will ship sometime around the end of February in the U.S. No information about the rest of the world, mind you. What kind of a date is that? It's kind of just a general thing. Which, by the way, that is one other announcement. Is the Kaiba briefcases are shipping in the next few weeks, I guess. Someone says, it's 2024. How can it be so damn hard to give a clear date? Same for the ban list, by the way. I can understand not revealing the main Booster Series products because you already get the list from the OCG, but what about the TCG exclusive product? Would it kill them to follow the OCG model and reveal a few cards every day? It's not hyping up the products in the least to not say what's in it. At least not for me. It only makes it more frustrating. So this person's kind of dissatisfied with the state of how like Yu-Gi-Oh!
This person. It sounds like they're speaking for thousands all at once.
Well, they did get a lot of agreement on this thread.
I'm not surprised.
If nothing else. So yeah, people kind of seem to feel that the OCG gets it better than the TCG in terms of like kind of hyping up the products, letting you know what's up. I have complicated thoughts on this, but I do think that the TCG could probably do a slightly better job of like advertising products leading up to release. Just because I have met fans now at a lot of these events, and I've found more and more so that the average person actually just doesn't really know like what's going on.
Like what is going on in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Like what's like when are like people don't know set release dates. They don't really know dates for like things or like what's in products, and to not really much fault of their own. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Social media, like official accounts, are sometimes a little dry, a little lacking.
It works with for core Yu-Gi-Oh! Players because we will actually go and search out the information. Yeah. But for people more on the peripheral or more casual fans, some of them don't even know where to look. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a thing. I'll just find out what's happening next time I go to an event.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's like could be improved or?
I mean, clearly, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is just not well like marketed at all.
Yeah.
It's marketed to people who already know about it, and if you don't know about it, the Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't find its way to you.
I'll read a few of the things people said. The people responsible for the TCG simply can't be bothered to care about it. This is their words, not mine. Hell, I'm not even sure there is staff designated for the TCG. From how things have been going for the last 20 years, it seems more likely there's no one specifically in charge, and they all just try to avoid it until someone eventually has to half-heartedly tell the intern to switch on the printing press, wow, or update social media, only to find out nobody remembers the password for their Instagram account. Ouch, that's mean. Someone else says, OCG, real game with lots of events, more affordable cards, card shops, cards introduced way earlier, etc. TCG, milk. So I guess, they imply they're milking the TCG. I think one thing that Konami kind of maybe does take advantage of is the fact that like when they release this information in these sort of niche, unknown ways, the YouTubers kind of do their job of like disseminating it and spreading it for them, I suppose. So
but we're stuck with the YouTube algorithm. We're only seen by people that are readily like looking for Yu-Gi-Oh information and play Yu-Gi-Oh like every day.
Now here's one interesting perspective from a person who works at a card shops and like for events. So this person says, spending time working events for stores and getting to see how different games approach marketing, I'm shocked Yu-Gi-Oh does as well as it does. It probably has the most low-effort marketing of any TCG, certainly the worst of the big three. It has the worst support, the worst new player experience, a lack of real support for alternative formats, the most aggressive pack structure when it comes to meta card pull rates, and somehow it survives. Beyond advertising, this player base has been exploited for years. They print it and somehow we will just buy it. I thought last year would be the nail in the coffin. Sales were the lowest I've ever seen, and honestly, keeping organized Yu-Gi-Oh events running were more of a passion project than anything else.
Woo!
Then, bam, Age of Overlord and Rarity Collection come out. Now people are buying whatever they decide to print. Oh, Maze has a $100 card in it. Better buy off the shelves. It doesn't matter that we only get 4 Ultras in a $90 box. I'm totally going to pull Bonfire and Thrust. We're the cockroaches of the TCG world. Battered and bruised, but we just won't fucking die. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, this, now again, that's this person's words. I'm not saying that like.
And boy, were they some words.
Yeah, there's some words. I think that they raised some pretty good points though. Just that like, I do feel like Yu-Gi-Oh coasts a bit. Like, I think that the people who play, that's us included, I'm not like excluding myself.
We're stuck in here too.
You know, but I think the people who play, we're so into it.
We're addicted.
And like kind of like deep that we will find the news. We will buy the packs. Yep. We will do the thing. And even if maybe the practices with like pack pulling and stuff could be better, I think a lot of players are just, they're here now.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh is a bit of an addictive card game. I think it's a lot like cigarettes in a way.
That's funny.
Like, you ever notice, like a cigarette addict, they never have to have cigarettes advertised to them. They go get the cigarettes.
True.
They don't care about changes to like cigarettes. They don't care about really much of anything. They just need their cigarette from their like whatever their brand is. And we're a lot like that where we kind of just need Yu-Gi-Oh. Do our pull rates suck? Yes. Do we need more reprints? Yes. Do we need more communication from the people who run our game? Yes. But it kind of doesn't matter because we're going to get our daily like intake of Yu-Gi-Oh. Why am I pretending like there's Coke on this table? I was doing it. Anyway, we just kind of need Yu-Gi-Oh. And so we're going to go get it by any means
I think people
necessary.
have decided that like it's kind of a weird thing. We play Yu-Gi-Oh almost in spite of its shortcomings, which like you could say that about almost anything, but like Yu-Gi-Oh's it's a stronger example because there are like examples of games kind of doing certain things a little bit better or maybe in a more ideal way, like how Pokemon does like the kind of multi-rarity thing in packs.
And in no way do we force like Konami to like adopt such practices.
Yeah, or how like Magic advertises its products, in my opinion, a little better. They have like trailers for packs.
Yeah, they just utilize AI to get things out really quickly.
They do big collabs, and they may or may not utilize a few artificial intelligence products. But Either way, yeah. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh could use some work. My last little take on this too is I think that the anime kind of hard carries.
Yeah, even
Like,
though it's kind of long defunct, at least in the West.
So that's the thing, actually, is the anime is long defunct, and it did for kids. Like, I think Konami and like Mario and Yu-Gi-Oh owes so much more to 4Kids than we will ever know. Because like if you think about it, just you got like basically a decade of like animated well, technically like 2 decades really of like animated content of just like Saturday morning cartoons back when that was the big thing, and it really like stuck in the public zeitgeist a lot like, you know, your Pokemon and like things like that. And even though that anime, you know, DM like ended airing in like 2004 or something,
here we are.
Like it's stuck in people's heads. So the memes carry, the imagery, just the kind of what caught people and gripped people.
Yep.
And even though the card game today does not in any way resemble what they were playing on the show,
not even remotely,
like both visually and mechanically, it just does not resemble it. But like the brand name Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot of weight.
Like
so,
every time I see a Dark Magician, something happens in my soul. Makes me want to cut it up in pieces, but hey, that's just me.
That's probably what would happen if you lost a shadow game. Anyways, I thought it was a kind of an interesting Reddit thread. Not meant to be like a bashing thing for me personally, but I think it turned into it. So
he went in.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all the Yu-Gi-Oh I believe. You know, if I think of anything else, I guess I'll bring it up.
That's fair.
Anywho, got some other card game stories.
I do.
Okay.
So, you know, quarterly financials are coming out.
Oh, are they?
They are. And Magic the Gathering reported theirs.
What did Magic have to say? What do you have to say for yourself?
Universes Beyond license hurts MTG operating profits for Q4.
Okay.
So Hasbro has revealed its Q4 financial results, and it seems like the MTG Universes Beyond license is taking a toll on Magic the Gathering profits, not products. According to a report from February 13th, operating profit for Wizards of the Coast and Digital Gaming fell by 2%. That's not actually that much, but for corporations it is, due to higher royalty costs associated with Universes Beyond.
Yeah, because Universes Beyond is where they do like the collabs, basically.
It says right here, Universes Beyond refers to a line of licensed products that have been releasing since 2020. What began with third-party MTG secret layers has ballooned into full MTG sets based on other franchises. Previous financial reports hyped up the Warhammer 40k Commander decks, which were so popular and profitable that Hasbro had to keep reprinting them. So there's been Warhammer, there's been Lord of the Rings, and there's been Doctor Who. I think those are the ones that have happened so far.
I know Marvel's coming.
Marvel's coming. Fallout is coming. Yeah. There's something else I'm missing, I'm sure.
So I guess this is like the downside for a company to doing like the big collabs is that you do have to pay the royalty fees.
Licenses, boy.
And if you... I mean, I guess if the sales of the product are good, then it's fine. Mm-hmm. But, you know, obviously...
The thing is, does not deter Hasbro and Wizards at all.
Okay.
Because in this announcement, Magic the Gathering will do 2 big crossovers a year starting in 2025.
Weren't they already doing 2 big crossovers a year?
But they've made it official.
Okay.
So Magic the Gathering will get 2 major crossovers a year starting in 2025 on the same scale as Tales of Middle-earth. So Tales of Middle-earth was the Lord of the Rings one. It was a huge set, but they also did like multiple
releases,
future products within that. So
I remember that.
The first 2 to kick it all off will be Marvel and Final Fantasy, both of which have already been announced for 2025. So there's going to be a lot of Marvel stuff and a lot of Final Fantasy stuff, so I'm going to be locked in.
I will certainly be interested in the Final Fantasy thing. I'd like to see what they do with that.
It says, while we already knew that these huge crossovers were on the way, Hasbro has now confirmed that this will be a part of an ongoing strategy with the company seemingly setting up a regular release schedule. It also means that we shouldn't expect that schedule to kick off this year, leaving some time between the next crossover and the campaigns we've just had in 2023.
Okay.
So 2024 sounds like the kind of year off in a way, where 2025 ratchets up to 11.
Okay, I'm interested in that. I mean, I think that I will probably try out the Final Fantasy one because I really like Final Fantasy. Marvel, I don't think I know enough about like the Marvel comics kind of world to get much, you know, to be able to extract a lot of value from that for myself.
I will.
You probably will. I still have to give credit. Like I know like Hasbro's not perfect and like they come under fire quite a bit, really.
And they sometimes have content creators come under fire.
That too. But I mean, I got to give them props for like continuing to try to do the collab thing, because it attempts to really grow the card game. And I think coming from Yu-Gi-Oh!, which as we just discussed is a game that kind of just focuses on just sort of maintaining the crowd of established people and just simply satiating us.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Just does Yu-Gi-Oh!
Which does a good job of that, at least. But like, I think that it's cool that Magic looks to expand. It looks to like reach new people based on their interests. And that's something that I've always wanted to see like Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe experiment with. I know Konami's probably not, and that's probably not happening. Unlikely, but so good for them. You know their Magic things?
I got one more.
Oh, okay.
Wizards of the Coast offers Magic the Gathering New Perspectives Grant.
New Perspectives Grant.
So Wizards of the Coast is offering up a New Perspectives Grant for historically underrepresented Magic the Gathering fans to attend Magic Cons. Wizards of the Coast has officially opened up applicant submissions for this grant to the WPN community and players alike.
WPN?
I have no idea.
I'll look it up. You can.
There will be 10 grants given out so that select applicants 18 years or older. Wizards of the Coast. What? Oh, okay, that was a typo. Wizards of the Coast encourages applicants for this grant to come from those marginalized based on race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, disability, and or veteran or military enrollment status. The recipient of this grant will get a Black Lotus VIP package for a Magic Con and a $2,000 stipend for travel accommodations and expenses related to Magic Con attendance.
Okay, just a quick update. The Wizards Play Network is what WPN is. The official sanctioning body for competitive play in Magic the Gathering and various other games produced by Wizards of the Coast.
So when I read this initially, I saw it's a grant. Okay, so they're going to help people out with their college tuition, maybe help them towards a career in card gaming. No, it seems it's more so just like a sweepstakes to like go to a Magic Con, all expenses paid.
Cool, I guess. Well.
Actually, now I think about it, a $2,000 stipend for travel, accommodation, and expenses, is that even enough?
It is. I mean, I think that's enough. Okay. Because like if you think about maybe just flying, like let's say your flight ticket, like it's like a one-person kind of two-way flight, might be like $500.
But like Magic Con
and like your hotel,
Vegas.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I think $2,000 would be enough, like to cover just like flight and hotel. And then it's cool that like you kind of go to the event. So on paper, I think this is a pretty good thing. I could see like a small bit of pushback about maybe like if it's only for like underrepresented groups, then there's always kind of that conversation about like, well, so I guess I'm assuming that they mean maybe like women, people of color.
I mean,
like is that...
they specifically said race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, disability, and or veteran or military enrollment status.
Oh boy. You know, we just made the mistake of having a somewhat political story last week, and that got...
There's nothing political in this.
No, there's nothing political in this. That's not what I mean. But I know, like, people didn't, love that. But I'm unfortunately going to have to double dip. I'm not sure. Like, I could just see people really not liking the idea of, like, why am I ineligible for this sweepstakes just because, like, I'm, say, a straight white male?
Well, if you fought for this country, you'd be eligible again.
Who didn't fight for the country?
Oh, then what do you want then? What have you done?
Yeah. No. Like I'm seriously.
I jest.
Yeah, like I do think that with stuff like that, it's just a little weird, I guess, because like it isn't fair. Like if you're just a person, maybe it'd be different if it was like a scholarship. Like I know that and even those come into fire already.
Yeah, they're coming.
Like
to fire
people
too.
for similar reasons. But it's kind of weird. It's like okay, you can only win your free trip to MagicCon if you're not like a white guy.
It's like, but I don't understand the point of this.
That's another. I'll get to that because so first and foremost, I think that like that's already just it feels. It feels like it kind of conflicts with my sense of like, where I stand on stuff like affirmative action and kind of diversity initiatives where it's like, they're good, sure, but then like, there is probably a person who does not apply for these things, like, who doesn't fall into these categories, who could still use a trip to Magic Con.
I mean, I think everyone who goes to Magic Con could use a free
Yeah,
trip
like
to
everybody would
MagicCon.
appreciate it. So I think that maybe just making it available for everybody would be good. And then maybe Magic Con itself could have other kind of like, concessions perhaps at the event for people, like, maybe a person of color or like some sort of groupings or something. But it I don't want to say it rubs me the wrong way, but it's a little odd. And then for your point too, this is a little weird. Like, I just they're calling it a grant, but I mean, you're just winning a trip to an event, right?
Yeah, it feels weird. Like, I don't understand what the point of all this is. Maybe they felt like the MagicCon attendance is too monolithic, you might say.
Yeah, too gentrified, too white.
Maybe they feel that they want to diversify attendance, but like giving out 10 trips to like.
It's 10 people, so I don't know if that's going to really
10
change.
diverse people? What is the goal here? You want to just get your 10 on stage, take a picture, and be like, look how diverse Magic is. Oh my God, that's the plan.
That's probably true, actually, because I'm guessing if you win this trip, you will probably be used in like, or asked to be in like marketing material or like pictures. I mean, and maybe I'm being a little too like cynical about the whole thing, and it's just kind of like, you win it, you go, you're happy, no one cares, right? Like, it might just be fine.
Because like things that are selected for marginalized groups, they're typically to help them move forward in life, to make up for whatever disadvantages they may have coming from a marginalized group. I'm not sure how being part of a marginalized group makes it harder for you to go to MagicCon.
Not in any way that's, I get what you mean.
Because it's like, oh, well, you might not have enough money. There's a lot of people who might not have enough money. That actually does not have that much to do with your
that's kind of what I meant. It's like, I don't think it's, like, I think that there are straight white guys. And this is coming from somebody who, like, I typically, I'm kind of social justice-y, I guess. But, like, this is still weird to me because it's like, anyone would appreciate a trip to MagicCon, so it's just weird that you can't get one if you're...
And like, this isn't like getting a college degree. This isn't going to improve your life. When I read this initially, I thought there was some great social undertaking here.
Yeah, it just feels like we're just trying to get people to MagicCon. I don't know. We might be reading too far into it. If somebody has like a different... And I mean that. Like, if somebody's got like a different perspective on,
a different take.
This, I would like to hear about it. I don't think it is a bad thing. I think it's just like a weird thing.
Like, and then now here's my personal grievance against it. Typically when things are, you can only apply being from a marginalized group, that means you're only competing against a very small number of people. Typically it's only based on something like race or a very specific, but they're like, oh no, if you're part of any marginalized group,
it's quite
race,
a wide net.
like, golly, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, that is a wide net. And
there's like the 10, good luck, you're playing the lottery again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the nature of a sweepstakes. So
it's not a sweepstakes; it's a grant.
Yeah. All right, I got a couple Pokemon stories.
What you got?
So man arrested for allegedly stealing $50,000 worth of Pokemon cards from a storage unit.
Why are we still stealing Pokemon cards?
Yeah, this one comes to us from Dick Cerdo. A 52-year-old man has been arrested and charged with a suspected robbery of Pokemon cards, worth around $50,000 from a storage unit.
Whose storage unit had 50K in like...
Bellevue Police Department has reported that they arrested a man of 52 on suspicion of stealing cards from a residential storage locker. According to their reports, on January 23rd, a man by the name of Kelly B. Wick was pulled over by a Kirkland police officer after they noticed a white pickup truck driving with a registration that had expired over 3 years prior. That's what got him pulled over. During the traffic stop, they realized that despite the heavy rain at the time, several cardboard boxes filling the truck's bed were dry. The officer found that the boxes were full of Pokemon cards and merchandise, which were addressed to a resident of a nearby apartment building. After calling the resident, Wick was soon arrested after the owner confirmed that the cards were stolen from their storage locker. The victim has claimed that the cards are worth between $30,000 to $50,000, including the rare Japanese Detective Pikachu and 25th anniversary collection packs. In the days since the crime, Bellevue police detectives discovered video evidence of a man believed to be Wick stealing the cards from the locker. So he was placed in King County Jail and has been charged with first-degree theft as well as second-degree burglary.
All right. Look, man.
Let's hear it.
Y'all need to relax with these Pokemon cards. Like, Jesus. so many people have been caught stealing them, attempting to steal them, and y'all all getting caught. Y'all like Officer Jenny must really exist. Like, y'all really out here like Team Rocket and failing. This man only got caught because his registration was out of date. Now, to be fair, there was also cameras at the storage unit, which typically in those storage unit type places there are cameras. So you'd at least want to wear a mask or something. What are you, Jesse and James?
I think you're forgetting the key thing here, which is that stealing is wrong.
No. That's not important. There is stealing in Pokemon. There was a whole mechanic in the show. But how could you be so silly to be stealing thousands of dollars worth of Pokemon cards and then you're driving in a dirty car?
Well, I'll just focus on what I think is the big deal here is, hey, don't steal, kids. But also, it speaks to just the Pokemon thing, you know? That I don't think that this would necessarily have really, like, happened with... It probably could happen with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I guess. But I think with Pokemon, there's, like, more of this knowledge by the common person that Pokemon cards are worth a lot, just in general. And so I think that that's what leads to more thefts for them. Still, though, I'm sure that this person knew who they were stealing from.
I think you almost have to. Either they were a worker, they worked at the storage unit place and they just kind of saw, or, and this is sad, there's someone that the victim trusted.
Yeah.
And they got information and they figured out which one was their storage unit. Because like typically units aren't even marked, so you'd have to have inside information to specifically steal from one.
Yeah, it could have been a worker. So yeah, just a really unfortunate story, but at least it ended, or it was an unfortunate event, but it seems like it's fine now. So
look, I'm gonna tell you right now, the boss is not promoting you. You're going to jail. Good luck.
As a Team Rocket member, huh?
Nah, he's on Team Galactic or something. He's not Team Rocket.
Yeah. So speaking of that, Pokemon TCG player. This also comes from us, from Dexerto.
Okay.
Pokemon TCG player hits gold mine with decades-old basement haul. So, a lucky Pokemon TCG player shared some snaps of a treasure trove of vintage Pokemon merchandise and cards they found tucked away in their basement. I'm assuming this is on Reddit. Yeah. It's in the R Pokemon cards on Reddit. User Experience OK4273 displayed a mountain of boxes filled to the brim with vintage merchandise and trading cards. The fan explains in the post that the merchandise was originally picked up thanks to their father's job at a Pokemon retailer, and it's sat in storage ever since. So there are some pictures of some of the stuff that they've got. Pretty cool.
Is that sealed?
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is sealed.
Oh, he got a real gold mine. I thought this was one of those things where I found my old Pokemon cards and they're all kind of like beat up and scratched up. No.
Yeah, I see. Like, there's like a Wizards of the Coast box. It's got like Aerodactyl and a Pokeball on it. I don't know offhand what this one's called, but that's really cool.
Oh yeah, they really found it. I saw that Rockets box sealed. I saw that.
Yeah, I saw the Rockets box. There's just a bunch of stuff. So I guess what if these are like the same collections? That'd be really funny. Like, it's like, yeah, this guy's like, look at all the stuff I found, and like shared it on Reddit, and then like put it in storage, and the next day the guy, no, these were different dates. Both recent, but these were different dates. But yeah, so it's kind of cool. You can randomly stumble on this stuff. I think that I know for these like collectors markets, these are usually a big deal when like more of the product is known to now be on the market potentially. So I always wonder how like the channels, you know, like the Leon Hearts and like other Pokemon kind of openers, and Ruxin for that matter, and I watch like his Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, how they're able to just so consistently open the old packs and stuff. Because like there's only so many of them. Well, no, but I mean really, like it's there. I would be scared to open it because I know there's only so many. So even if I can afford to get the packs, they won't like exist forever. Do you know what I mean?
Rare hunters.
No, but like we did it for one series that is now over, and like they just like upload videos like every day.
Packs are meant to be opened.
Yeah, I know, but like my question is like how there's not a.
My assumption
like
is
once those are opened, they're just opened.
My assumption is this: they actually have a copy of those things still sealed, and so they feel free to open the others because they have a sealed one still.
Yeah.
And other people still have sealed boxes that they're not moving under any circumstances. So it's not like those cards are gone. It's not like those products are gone forever. It's just that There were some of them, especially the lighter ones. Once you scale them, are worth more as content.
Yeah, I suppose so. Like, I guess it's more worth it. What you get from a video is more worth it than like keeping the stuff sealed.
It's if as long as you already have if you have some sealed already, then you can make a more like you can make the judgment call.
Yeah, well, they also had some cool like stickers and stuff from that time period, so that's kind of cool.
Also, wouldn't that be making your box appreciate? Like if you hold one sealed and you open up a bunch of others.
Yeah, maybe the impression. Yeah,
makes your sealed one more valuable. So
yeah, as you see, they have like some stickers and yeah, there's some cool stuff here. So yeah, that's the Pokemon story. Any other card game things?
I already forgot what these stories are. Give me 1 second.
If not, I have one more card game one that we can
go
for real quick. So the Dragon Ball Super card game confirms a release date for upcoming Fusion World. Mm-hmm. So the new Dragon Ball Super card game Fusion World will allow anime fans to battle intuitively with their favorite Z Warriors via tabletop or digital. It's an upcoming collectible card game based on the Dragon Ball anime series, and it's going to be releasing mid-February. So, per the official weekly Dragon Ball news video series hosted by V-Jump editor Victory Uchida, interesting name, the new Dragon Ball themed card game will be available in North America on February 16th. That's tomorrow.
Very soon.
This. The 4 starter decks being sold on launch are Son Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and Frieza. And then on February 23rd, Dragon Ball fans can look forward to the release of FB1001 Son Goku, because it's like a different version of him.
It'll be the first set or whatever.
Yeah, the deck includes 8 different leader cards: Goku in his base form, Super Saiyan Blue form, Beerus, Goku Black, Future Trunks, Android 17, Kid Gohan, Ginyu, and Cooler.
So it's like a structure deck essentially.
Yeah. So what sets up the Dragon Ball Super card game Fusion World apart from its peers is its aggressive gameplay, supported by its 2 new systems. Well, first of all, do you know much about Fusion World or the Dragon Ball card game? No, not really.
No, I played the Panini one.
What was that?
A different Dragon Ball card
like
game.
Older, something older. Okay. When the player's life points are reduced by half, the leader in their deck awakens. That feels very Dragon Ball.
Get stronger.
Allowing them the opportunity to change the tide of battle. Staying true to the spirit of Dragon Ball, the combo system allows supporting cards to add their power toward the leader. It's like a spirit bomb, I guess, giving them the energy needed to deliver the final blow. Now, here's what's cool to me. The game will be available in tabletop form as well as a digital video game version for PC. Players who purchase the starter deck and booster decks will receive in-game rewards for the digital game when redeeming the serial codes, so similar to Pokemon. And they had announced an open beta test in late January, but they don't have a solid release date for when the PC game will come out.
Oh.
So, what do you think? You getting this crack?
I mean, I guess I might as well. Though it's very unlikely I'll continue with it. There's been too many Dragon Ball card games for me, and Bandai has released entirely too many card games for me. But I guess I'll give it like a try.
Give it its due. I think I would try it just on the like PC game when that comes out. I don't think I want to really like get more physical.
I don't
cards.
need more expensive cards.
I mean, I'm in the process of trying to like shave down a little Yu-Gi-Oh stuff around here. But this is really cool.
You are available for more card games then.
I suppose so. Yeah, I'm making room. This is another Bandai game, although what's interesting about this is that they're making such a concerted effort to give it a physical game and a like digital game pretty early on, whereas like Digimon and One Piece even, which is very popular, don't have those.
They don't have them. We don't know when they're coming.
So, kind of interesting. Like, what made this Dragon Ball game be worth doing?
Dragon Ball is one of the most popular anime franchises in the world.
But Dragon Ball Super's, at least original card game, I know was not very popular. So I guess this is like a way of trying to spur that?
I think they're trying to separate themselves from the Dragon Ball Super card game, and they just want this to sound like a completely brand new card game that's fun for any Dragon Ball fan. Just get into it now. Get on the ground floor. You know, we're going to have our own master duel. Come on.
Yeah, so speaking of TCG Con earlier, I mean, I saw how popular One Piece has gotten. The cards are expensive.
It's very, very popular.
and like holding a lot of value and like perceived kind of, you know, relevance and stuff. So it's a surprise that as popular as One Piece has been, which apparently, you know, it flies off the shelves, that they haven't invested in, and maybe they are currently investing in a digital client for that.
Bandai just
Probably
seems to
sooner
move
than-
at this pace of molasses.
Maybe these are different teams working on each game.
I feel they better be, because I'm sick of this.
I know you probably would want a Digimon.
Yes,
digital
I want
client.
Digimon everything. In fact, I wouldn't mind if One Piece and Dragon Ball shut down right now.
Wow.
Just so that Digimon
You know
can
what
survive.
I think though? I'm surprised Bandai doesn't just have like the same game for all their, like a digital client where you can just play them all and like, you just connect it to your Bandai account.
It just they tried that with the app as far as consolidating everything into their one TCG Plus app, and it was a buggy mess. They finally got it together many months after release. I think whoever is running like trading card games for Bandai, it's not that they don't know what they're doing. They're learning as they go. And so any grand idea is going to take them a long time to implement.
They're just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my story.
So I have one other Pokemon thing.
Oh,
We were
okay.
talking about marketing card games, and that actually makes this a little bit more relevant. Have you seen these videos that the official Pokemon Twitter have been putting out?
I haven't.
So this is kind of really cool thing they did. They made these cinematic kind of like trailers of a Pokemon battle.
Yeah. Okay.
The first one was Ceruledge versus Dragapult, and it kind of shows these two Pokemon battling out in all their dynamic ways. There's not much more to it than that, but you know, we just got those Yu-Gi-Oh animations, and we saw how much attention that brought to Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, these things are kind of expensive, but they keep your game on people's minds. And then recently they uploaded another video of it's that same battle of Ceruledge and Dragapult, but now it's from the perspective of a Gimmighoul. And I know you didn't play a lot of the newer Pokemon
Yeah, I know
games,
a little bit about Gimmighoul.
but Gimmighoul is that tiny little ghost Pokemon. And so it's the same battle, but it's from this little guy's perspective.
Oh, and so he's kind of just getting tossed around and scrambling to...
He's trying to get his little coin, and this big fight's happening, and he can't...
Gimmighoul Gold Rush. That's really fun. You know, Pokemon doesn't have to do that, and the fact that they do, I think, is pretty cool. To me, when you make videos like that, and the same can be said of like the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Chronicles or whatever, like that animated thing, it just helps players, like, it reminds them of the immersion that they have in the world.
Right.
Because when you're just forced to kind of look at sprites on a screen or like just text or like an image on a printed card, your mind can obviously fill in the blanks, but it's nice to see like, you know, some animated thing or like, you know, CG kind of battle playing out. Like, what does a Pokemon battle actually look like when it's not just the two models just standing across the screen from each other, like taking turns attacking. So obviously Pokemon's had a whole anime to showcase that, but
they don't just rest on their laurels there. They're always putting out new video content to further engage their player base across multiple Pokemon games.
And it helps when it's like some of the cooler Pokemon people kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
Ceruledge is pretty popular.
But Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean, only recently have we done the same thing, and it's been a long time
I
coming.
heard something kind of funny about that actually. This isn't the anime one. I think they were probably planning on doing more animation stuff, but with the VR thing, I saw a story. I meant to save it, but it was like Konami confirms that they're going to be doing more VR stuff after the reception of the VR like kind of demo at the Tokyo Dome event. And so people were saying, wait, so like it was they were just sort of gauging our interest, and they didn't plan to do that already. So some people kind of thought that was like a bit of a joke.
It's kind of silly. If that is true, that is really silly. Konami not sure Yu-Gi-Oh players would want virtual reality Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, come on, Konami.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate for a second on that, which is just that like it's not that people don't want it, but man, like the actual like subsection of people that could experience that is pretty small. Because like A, you have to like Yu-Gi-Oh. B, you have to like VR, AR, and then you have to also like be able to afford like a VR headset.
Right.
Of which, the cheapest kind of one on sale right now is still like $300, $400. So I can see why they might not want to like invest a lot into building something like that if only a few people will really be able to play it.
I mean, I figured that, they're releasing this thing around the same time as the Apple Vision Pros
I do think, yeah, there's something
Like that's big.
Something
PSVR
there.
is big. The MetaQuest is big. I mean, I figured they had only done this because they intended to make a Yu-Gi-Oh VR.
I think they did
Like,
intend to make it regardless. I think that they were just probably happy to see the positive reception, but I think that they were already going to be like working on something. So, anywho, okay, so I have a couple of quick ones. I'm just gonna kind of lightning round these.
What you got?
Amazon Prime Video is facing a $5 million class action lawsuit for its newest ad tiers. We don't typically talk about this sort of thing, or sort of, but Amazon's in the hot seat for tacking an extra monthly fee for ad-free services on its streaming platform. So basically, more than 100 members who pay for Prime Video, which was ad-free until December 28th, 2023, must now pay an
I did
extra
not know that.
$2.99 per month if they want to watch movies or TV shows without ads. So after announcing plans to introduce ad-supported tiers in 2023, they rolled out that change last month. And people are upset because they say that the company benefited from years of marketing itself as commercial-free, and it claims that the violations of other consumer protection laws like breach of contract, false advertising, and unfair competition might be relevant in California and Washington. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting one.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with what Amazon's doing. I don't like it. Just to be clear, I use Amazon Prime, and I've enjoyed using video without ads. But if they're now making you have to pay extra for ads, they're not forcing you to pay extra. You can just say no and continue to watch with ads. Like does it feel bad? Yeah, but I don't think it's illegal.
Yeah. So it's just kind of interesting. I guess it's because like they advertise themselves as, okay, this is an ad-free platform. There's like an ad-free or ad-free like experience. Now, if you want to get that experience, you have to pay an extra amount.
Yeah,
but that was what was advertised to you. So a small thing and a bit of a preamble to the bigger story I have around, you probably heard Funimation and Crunchyroll, like Funimation's leaving for good now.
Yeah.
And a lot of its library is going to be transitioned to Crunchyroll.
Though, to be fair, I thought Funimation was already gone.
Yeah, though I think that now there's some controversy around this because as Funimation closes down due to its merger with Crunchyroll, which kind of creates a bit of a monopoly on anime apps, the loss of users' digital copies of certain titles is making some fans nostalgic for the physical media heydays.
That is true. Funimation and Crunchyroll have the licenses to so much anime that once Funimation goes down, they can't. Not all of that's just gonna show up on Crunchyroll the next day, at least until all of Funimation's library is on Crunchyroll, which it may never be. Certain anime are gone from legal streaming online.
Yeah, the uproar has been reminiscent of when Warner Bros., Disney, and other large corporations have removed shows from streaming, essentially leading them to no longer be accessible at all. In the case of Funimation, and this is actually news to me, there's a new wrinkle, as Funimation was never a service where you could buy digital copies of anime. But when you bought Funimation-branded Blu-rays and DVDs, they would come with a digital copy that you could redeem on the app. So
Interesting.
yeah, that's kind of interesting. It was essentially a bonus to engage audiences to commit to a physical format in an increasingly digital-focused world. So that's kind of interesting.
So you bought an anime movie. It comes with a digital version, but the digital version was only accessible on the Funimation platform.
Now, the good thing about it was you could watch that on Funimation without having a Funimation subscription.
Right.
So even if you're not paying the $8.99 a month or whatever, you still just had access to just watch that show on Funimation.
Got
So that was kind of cool. But since this merger is happening, none of those will be available anymore. So it's kind of another one of those cases of like, media preservation and just where that conversation
It's kind of
goes.
one of those like pro-piracy things because when businesses do things like that, then the only way, if you want to watch a particular like show or anime and it's just not available legally to be streamed anywhere, that's where it's like, well, somebody has pirated the entire series and it's on a website that will not be named, and you can still watch it that way. I mean, look, I know a guy who has the entire series of Outlaw Star in his closet somewhere.
Do
like,
you?
I know a guy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I forgot his name, but he's got all that. Like typically, but I personally have a few Blu-ray collections of my favorite shows. I have Gundam Seed, which is I've said many times is my favorite Gundam show. But also I have Elreka 7. That's another favorite of mine. I have the entire series. On Blu-ray.
There's also the fact that like a lot of stuff just doesn't get Blu-ray releases. Like a less popular, just kind of 12-episode seasonal anime probably won't.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, but they don't all get it.
I mean, they probably can't all get it, especially in the West, because we have to get like translations.
And so in that case, like, if it ever just happened to get removed from Crunchyroll for any particular reason, you'd just never be able to watch it again.
It'd be gone. I think a savvy person would have a mix of legal Blu-rays and the
other
illicit
things, other means of watching it.
You know.
Yeah, well.
Like I know a guy who does that sort of thing. All my anime is legal. It's sitting in my room right now. All my stuff.
Right. Yes.
I got receipts.
Well, anyways, I would like to hear what people listening have to like say about. I mean, I'm sure some people just don't care about this, or maybe you don't even watch anime. Although it'd be kind of weird if you probably like anime. What do you guys think? I mean, were you subscribed to Funimation? Are you affected by this? I also heard that Crunchyroll is going to be increasing its pricing.
Yeah.
Due to the merger, or as the merger happens. So.
Thanks a lot, Crunchyroll.
It's a bit of a shame because I thought that the merger was a decent thing to have all the anime in one place, but of course the price has to go up too, huh?
Of course. So, speaking of things people may not care about, Marvel and DC Comics republished their crossovers, including their Amalgam universe.
Oh, okay.
So, once upon a time, in a place called the 90s and the early noughties, I don't know what that means, Marvel and DC Comics crossovers were pretty common. Batman and the Punisher, Silver Surfer and Superman, Batman and Daredevil, Darkseid versus Galacticus, Green Lantern and Silver Surfer, Batman and Captain America, and then we had the Marvel versus DC crossover event. Amalgam Comics was one of the final Marvel DC Comics crossovers, I actually remember reading these, in which comic book characters from each universe and publisher were smushed together to create new ones. They first appeared in a series of 12 one-shots that sat between issues 3 and 4 of the 12 issue series DC Comics versus Marvel Comics series from 1996, presented as if the Amalgam Comics publisher had existed for decades, with stories and editorial comments referring to a fictional history stretching back to the Golden Age, including the 80s fictional series Secret Crisis of the Infinite Hour. So it's a lot of like Marvel and DC references, and if you don't read comics, you didn't catch all of that. But for the most part, Marvel, and this is for all of you MCU heads, this is probably going to sound crazy to you, but Marvel and DC has actually worked together many times. The comics have crossed over plenty of times in the past, and at one point they had a shared universe that was kind of a comics parody, because they created the Amalgam universe, and they created these characters who were just a Marvel character and a DC character, or a few of them smushed together, and then they pretended like this was a long-running thing. So you would meet, like, let's say Captain Batman of America, and like you'd have a comic of him that's happening kind of mid-story. He has a history, he's got a past, he's working towards a future, and it was all in good fun. It was more parody.
So
than
they're
anything
re-releasing
else.
these?
Yeah, they're re-releasing these things. They're back. They're going to be back on shelves, and I actually think they're going to fly off of them.
That's cool. It would be interesting too if that could encourage almost like a future where the movies or shows could do the same. I know those are so much bigger money makers now, and there's so much like licensing and stuff that probably can't happen. But sounds cool though.
My brother and I, Alex, we were obsessed with the Amalgam Universe comics.
It sounds like literally a comic book fan's like wet dream. It's just the two very separate stories just smushed together. Well, speaking of Marvel, two last little quick ones before we get into the pot. So first of all, the Deadpool trailer came out.
Oh, it did, didn't it?
Deadpool 3, or well, as it's called, Deadpool and Wolverine. It broke the record for the most viewed trailer within 24 hours, beating, guess what other trailer?
I forget.
Guess. What trailer do you think held the record for most views in the first day?
Endgame?
I'll give you a hint. It is another Marvel trailer.
Not Endgame.
Is that your guess?
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll go Endgame.
It was actually Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which had 355.5 million online views in its first 24 hours back in 2021. This got 365 million. So it debuted during the Super Bowl, and it seems like it signals a positive change in just public opinion around maybe the MCU.
I mean, we
people
talked
think Deadpool
about
can
it
kind of save it.
in a previous week, right? Yeah, you just said it. Yeah, that it would save the MCU. And at least from the trailer's numbers, maybe.
What do you think of the trailer?
I thought it was okay.
I don't remember. I watched, I think, the first or second Deadpool movie. I think the first one, and it was so long ago, and I don't remember anything about Deadpool. So, like, I had very little opinion on the trailer.
Yeah, I like Deadpool quite a bit. I saw Deadpool's 1 and 2, and I have very little opinion on the trailer as well. Mostly because, well, I mean, I like Deadpool, but I don't think Deadpool is as great as everyone makes him out to be.
Why do you say that?
Deadpool's kind of a joke character. He can be funny. I think in the comics he has some pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Very interesting and entertaining stories. But people seem to like Deadpool in this kind of toilet humory way.
Yeah.
It's just like they consume Deadpool like junk food. They love him, but I don't think they actually care about him.
It's interesting that Deadpool, and to a slightly lesser extent, it feels like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are like these Marvel franchises that exist kind of outside of like Marvel's MCU. Like they're obviously they're part of it now, but like, you know what I mean? Where people, like, there are people who love the Guardians movies.
Yeah.
And they like claim that they're the best thing ever, and
They are.
that like they kind of almost feel that they exist outside of the realm of the MCU.
Many of them did feel that way.
Which they do as a trilogy, and so in that way, you know, it kind of feels like this is the same energy.
I mean, this it's different since this one was literally apart, because the first Deadpool movie was with like 20-something Century Fox or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were the helm of the old X-Men franchise, and so Deadpool was really the last dregs of a failed X-Men franchise. But it was so popular, Marvel's like, hey, we'll just carry it. We'll just take that and carry it.
I heard
along.
that there were some issues, some creative disagreements and stuff.
All through the pandemic, we kept hearing
this,
things.
but it's good to know that like they've come together to get something that has people excited. They made something, yo. On the other hand, Madam Web released or got early critic reviews and has been panned.
Oh yeah, they seem to hate Madam Web.
I believe its Rotten Tomatoes score is like 15%, 16%, right alongside like Morbius. It's part
Sony.
Of their.
Come on.
Yeah, it's that movie. I guess it's like part of the Sony Spider-Man verse. Mm-hmm. Alongside like Venom, which was not super well received, Morbius not well received, Madam Web, I know they released like a sort of short trailer, people didn't seem to like it. Critics are panning it. Thoughts?
So, I think Sony's Marvel works are getting a bit of the same rap as DC's movies.
Yeah, that sounds really accurate.
People enjoy hating on them, and I don't think people are actually watching them.
Yeah.
So I saw the first Venom movie. I thought it was at least palatable. I've seen it twice because I do find the movie to be enjoyable to watch. Is it a wonderful film? No. Is the CG stunning? No. Is the acting like amazing? No.
As he says, you starts roasting the movie.
I mean, but it's like watching a Fast and Furious movie to me. It's fine. It's entertaining. I can watch it. Mm-hmm. I did not at all enjoy Venom 2. I didn't.
Okay.
No.
I didn't either. I watched it. Not my favorite. I know Morbius was, they say, I guess, laughably bad.
I didn't see Morbius. I wasn't interested in it just because the character of Michael Morbius never really drew me in from the old cartoon. But I
guess they got the benefit of it becoming a meme.
Yeah, I mean, and then they re-released it just to find out people still didn't want to go and see it. So I think Sony, they're kicking this can down the road of, and it's sad to say, of returning Spider-Man and all those licenses to Marvel and then hence Disney, because they've made 3 Spider-Man franchises. They canceled them all except for one, and that just so happens to be the one they made in collaboration with Marvel.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even feel like it was their own work that got them to this place. And it's like, okay, Sony gave you the alley-oop, right? They tossed up Spider-Man, and you were able to, and now it's okay. Now we can sync it and make our own Spider-Man universe. Shouldn't be hard, right? Wrong, as they've stumbled on every single project.
All right. Well, here's the big question: will you be going to see Madam Web?
Yeah, I think I like the actresses, so
yeah, I plan on seeing it.
I'll see it.
I know people say it sucks, but much like with the Marvels, I plan on watching this and just kind of like forming my own opinion about it. We'll see.
I enjoyed the Marvels, but this feels like it's in a worse spot than even the Marvels, because I expected it to get a bad like predetermined like audience reaction, and then the critics would give it at least a more favorable score. The critics hate it,
don't
so
like it.
I mean,
we'll see. I will report back. Let us know, listeners, if you guys are going to be.
Hold it. I got one more. We need to enter into the console war.
Oh, do we? Okay.
So, after sales of the PlayStation 5 failed to meet expectations, Sony has said that the console is entering the latter stage of its life cycle.
Okay. Where's this come to us from?
This is from IGN.
Okay.
So Sony had set an ambitious target of 25 million PS5 sold during the current financial year. I'm assuming this is coming from their financial documents. Ending March 31st, 2025, but has now revised its forecast down to 21 million, so that's 4 million short, after PS5 sales during the crucial holiday 2023 quarter came in lower than expected despite aggressive promotions. Sony sold 8.2 million PS5s during the third quarter of its current financial year, ending December 31st, 2024, up from the 7.1 million sold during the same quarter of the previous year, but that was not enough to hit Sony's lofty target.
Two thoughts. So first of all, I don't think it's a big surprise. It's 2024. Like we're like 3 years into this cycle. Of course, like sales aren't going to be perfect. And the thing is, it's not like it's not selling. It's just slowing down. It's
slowing down, but I think the biggest issue that they ran into was that huge stumbling block of the first year, 2 years of its life.
Year or so of like very limited availability.
Because it's crazy to think. They're announcing this system is at the latter stage of its life, and I know people who still don't have PS5s.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can get one now, at least.
Yeah, you can get them. It just feels early. It feels weird.
It feels like the first year almost didn't happen. Which I remember when the consoles came out, I actually felt like because of the lack of games that were released for them at launch, I felt like they should have released in like 2021, like holiday 2021 instead of holiday 2020. And then if they had, then this wouldn't have. Then you'd be like for sure right. Like it still feels early. I mean, between that and the fact that like it sounds like the Xbox Series X just is not doing well in terms of hardware sales. Obviously, in terms of games, it's like fine. Maybe give or take, it could use a few more exclusives or something. That's what I hear. But like, it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, do you think that? I think maybe they could change this with like a PS5 Pro. I know like people always kind of like those announcements, those mid-gen.
I feel like a Pro announcement could help, but I really think Sony just wants to brush this generation under the rug. They didn't get as many games out. They didn't sell as many units as they wanted.
It's strange to me though because like they still like won in the conventional sense that like they sold a lot more than Microsoft did, and they've generally had the better like rapport with gamers on the whole this gen. It just I think it's just the economy and stuff. Like man, it's tough to justify buying like a $400 or $500 piece of hardware when like a Happy Meal from McDonald's is like $8.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I also hate that kind of like just shareholder we must be getting more sales every single year thing when it's like be happy that it's selling well.
Because see, if this were like a much smaller scale business. We sold how many units? Great. That means we're still in business. But this is very corporate, and it's all about increasing profits by that was barely a shake, but okay. Increasing profits by any means necessary. And so I don't know. I feel like Sony has they're a little off target, but maybe this is a good thing. Yeah. Moving towards like the PS6 generation and stuff. Maybe that'll be good for all of us.
Yeah, well, I wish Sony good luck. I mean, I don't have a PS5, but you know, you do.
Yeah, so it looks like even Sony's losing the console wars. So I guess only Nintendo's
Yeah, I guess everyone's
winning.
just losing.
I guess Nintendo's
Everyone's
winning.
losing, yeah.
And
Sure.
it kind of always was, so.
All right, well, Pot of Greed got our first cards to draw. Thank you guys for all your submissions. Remember that you can submit Pot of Greed questions in the form down below.
Check the link, yo.
All right, take it away.
So, how do you feel about a once per turn special summon limit?
No. No. Even like 3, people always suggest like 1 special summon, 3, 5. None of them would work because unfortunately, like so much of Modern Yu-Gi-Oh is designed around a lot of special summoning. And so I feel they would just disproportionately help like kind of very strong stun strategies would be like obviously very good. Like maybe your Guru control kind of Eldritch style things. But it would be no fun to now play like Black Wings or like Synchrons that are character driven decks. But even like elemental heroes maybe like wouldn't even be able to function under that.
Man,
so
I think you can't put the cap back on this bottle after it's been opened. This can of worms is open. We are a special summon heavy game. You can't just roll that back with a rule. The cards are already printed. The strategies are already established.
Yeah, I think the next best thing you can do is just alternate formats. Maybe lower power level format. That's something that I've always kind of wanted. But I think any special summon limits, the game was not designed with them in mind. And so I think that kind of arbitrarily putting those sort of controls on things won't work. Really
And then
well.
Konami did that already as far as special summon limiting. They made Max C, and people hated it, at least in the TCG. And so,
what would a Marvel or DC crossover look like? Do you mean like in cards or?
yeah, I think so.
Over Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like, how would we like to see? Like, if they were gonna do one, how would we like to see it?
Well, the closest we can expect to see from Yu-Gi-Oh would probably just be that there would be like a superhero-inspired archetype, which we kind of have. but if we're talking like actually a literal crossover,
I mean, Kazuki
Takahashi
Takahashi
drew Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He did draw a Marvel comic in a secret reverse.
Yeah. Is it sad that I think it's so unlikely this could ever happen that I just don't even actually have.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine it in the card form in like a Magic the Gathering style crossover, but maybe on the Marvel side of things, there could be something. I mean, because Kazuki Takahashi also drew, I think he did an Iron Man. No,
Yeah,
that was just like a static image. Regardless, he did have a relationship with Marvel Comics and Stan Lee, so there could be something on Marvel's end that incorporates some type of a Yu-Gi-Oh aesthetic into a future work. But as far as getting into the cards themselves, I mean, the best I could ever even imagine is if maybe like the Power Pro collab, they do
Like a single card, it's like a vanilla.
like Elemental Heroes and like the Avengers. Or
That would be
something.
cool if there were alt arts for the Elemental Heroes.
Yeah, like that's the best I could expect, and maybe that would only be in Master Duel.
Yeah. It'd be cool. Maybe you just get like 1 or 2 cards like it.
It would,
It might only happen in the OCG and we just never get it.
and that's a very real possibility. It's a sad possibility, but a real one.
Take it away.
Will Alec ever make Duel Links content?
You'll be streaming it soon.
Yeah, I will be streaming it very soon for the Invitational, so that if that counts, I did it. But I know that's not what you mean. For the most part, I play Duel Links very casually, so I don't know if I could really make content that people would want to see. Really,
It feels like so much of the Duel Links content is like just how do you play this deck in the best way?
'cause I mean,
can it win?
so much of Duel Links is centered around the private sector of just winning Decades tournaments and whatnot, getting the King of Games, getting to the what is it called, the Kaiba Cup.
The private sector
type situation.
What does that mean? What does the private sector mean?
The private sector, that's the people who play this game for money, or in at least for Decades tournaments, cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like it'd be tough because I know you do play kind of just for fun, and
Yeah, I mean, I play so.
it feels like that's kind of hard to translate into watchable. Like I don't know if there's an audience for that.
Like, yeah, as far as videos go, maybe streaming playing casually could be a thing, because we did that in the past where I just played with viewers and we all had a good time. It wasn't like very competitive, but that's the best I could probably manage, because I don't just spend okay, I do spend a lot of money on Duel Links, but I spend money on Duel Links on bad decks. So I just don't think I can make video content that anyone would want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people would say like, "Oh, I want to see your bad decks," but then that gets into that typical like content thing where people are like, "Yeah, you should make this. I'd love to see it," and then you make it, and then like it doesn't actually get as much.
Well, all the people that said they wanted to see it, watch it. Both of them.
Yeah, so it's kind of a. Anyways, my question is, who would be your Yu-Gi-Oh monster pet?
All right, we gotta separate all humanoid characters out because my first thought was Amazona's Queen, and I know that's not what you were asking.
Okay, I know what mine is. Mine's actually my current Master Duel mate, Unchained Abomination.
Oh, okay.
I would love to have a pet Unchained Abomination.
That's
I would have to definitely get it used to like being friendly with me.
I don't think the apartment complex would be okay with that.
It might not. But what about you?
I'm not sure. Well, I gotta really think about this because like a pet, so like an animal type
Probably
monster, you know, preferably like warrior diagram. No,
warrior diagram.
This is tough.
I can see you having like a Raikou.
Raikou did pop into my head. I thought
and
of
you could give
him
the Twilight Sworn like
the
kind of cape thing.
Like the possessed Raikou, but Raikou popped into my head, and it's another like dog like monster that just disappeared just as close.
You know what the perfect answer is?
I don't know.
It's a Shiba Warrior Taro.
That is the perfect answer.
That's the Kazuki Takahashi.
It's a dog. Oh wait, I want Marin.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. As long as it doesn't like die and then have to like kind of find you in the afterlife.
I don't mind that either.
It's a good reunion story.
Like, you know. Well, I don't want my dog to die, but you know.
Yeah.
Like I've buried dogs before.
Part of the flavor.
I'll do it again.
Anywho. So
cool. That was a weird one to end it on.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning into the pod.
Oh, I want a pet dragon. Never mind.
What do you want?
I want a pet dragon.
Just like any Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like
Harpy's pet dragon?
That one comes with a collar.
Okay.
Yeah, like the other dragons don't have a collar.
Harpy's pet dragon.
Like, yeah, that's my answer now.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Pod of Greed. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you again next week. Shout out to everybody watching the YouTube premiere. And anybody listening on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, links to all of them are down in the description.
And remember, if you want to be featured in the Pod of Greed, then you'll have to leave a question in our forums below.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.